Oh, you could pull them up?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the podcast studios brought to you by Machine Inc. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, Kurt.
Hey, what's going on, Jonathan?
Not much. I'm glad to have you on here.
Yeah, man, it's an honor. This is an outstanding studio. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. I put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, you know a guy, so.
I do know a guy. Yeah, for sure. So it's been a while, right? How long has it been?
Dude, has it been 3 years, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, well, 25, 22, maybe 4 even.
Yep.
Been some time.
Yeah, because I think we got occupancy over there in 21, at least a temporary. So they're not going to give us that without the
For sure.
life safety.
Yeah, so it's definitely been 4 years then.
Yeah.
Man, time flies.
Oh,
So many things has happened in these 4 years that obviously you built a whole studio, and I didn't realize you're a very talented artist.
Oh, thank you.
Some of that's pretty cool. I think it's cool because stick figures are difficult for me. So it is.
Yeah. You're more like pull figures,
Yeah,
pulling them out of buildings.
Yeah,
I know what you're about.
Yeah. Just give me a tool or a sledgehammer. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So when did you're not doing that at all anymore? Construction related.
Correct. So I still hold my card. Like, I'm still a sprinkler fitter.
Yeah.
I was a sprinkler fitter for 16 years.
Really? Yeah.
I still hold that card, but I stepped away from it about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now.
So were you always both a firefighter and a sprinkler fitter?
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird dynamic. I practice on doing everything backwards in my life because I figure that the way everybody else has done it is the right way, and I think I'm going to find a better way, and I realize I just don't. So it's the little rebel in me, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, so actually I was a part-time firefighter,
Okay.
and then I became a career sprinkler fitter.
Okay.
But I still had the pull to be a firefighter. Like I
Yeah.
just couldn't let it go. But being a union sprinkler fitter it's good pay, good benefits. It's everything
High
I need
demand.
for my family. Yeah, big high demand. It's hard to get in, and it's a great group. So it was like, okay, I got this. This is set.
Did being a firefighter help you get in, or was
No.
it totally separate?
Completely separate. The reason I became a firefighter, I should have started with that. The whole reason I became a firefighter, because I'm not one of those guys that dreamed of being a firefighter when I was a kid.
Okay.
It just wasn't there. Like I wanted to be an astronaut, but
You still can.
yeah, yeah. Katy Perry can, so I guess I can, right?
Is she?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. She flew up into something that I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
So anyways,
You want a snack?
no, I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
good. I do fasting, so
Oh, you're fasting?
yeah, I'm
I
good.
try to, but anyways, we'll keep
Yeah,
going.
you don't need to. I need to. So, you're a very fit guy. But no, so started in the fire service because my daughter, who's 23 now, when she was an infant, when she was a baby, she had a seizure, and it was chaotic. My wife and I, high school sweethearts, we were kids having kids, right? We were overachievers. We decided, again, not taking the path that everybody else takes.
You did it right.
So maybe.
You had your kids young.
Yes.
That's the way.
Yeah. But we were kids raising kids. And so when you do that and your kids raising kids, it's difficult, right? There's a lot of difficulties, but there's there's some upside to it too. But it was good. I got a great wife, great kids. It's an awesome thing, and you really just mature together and you build things together. So my daughter, she had this seizure. Obviously, my wife's freaking out. I'm freaking out. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I remember doing what I saw in the movies. I laid her on her side, and she's a baby.
Yeah.
My wife calls 911. 911 comes. Firefighters, paramedics come in. They know exactly what to do. Take care of the situation. Confidence, just boom, 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 and I'm like, holy cow, and you felt safe.
Yeah.
There was a peace of mind. We went to the hospital and we're sitting in the hospital room. And once we find out everything's good and everything's okay,
Mm-hmm.
it was a fever-induced seizure.
Okay.
It's her one and only seizure she's ever had in her life.
Wow. How high was the fever? Was it high?
It was like 104.5 or 105. Like,
yeah.
It was
It was
boil
up
over
there.
point.
Yeah.
And so never had that again. But I remember sitting in the hospital room with my wife, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to do that because I felt so out of control, and I just didn't like that feeling,
Yeah.
And so I went to the firehouse and said, hey, how do I become a firefighter, And I had to take this test and do all these things, and you jump through the hoops. They send you to fire academy. Then you got to go get your EMT. Then you got to become a paramedic, because it's much different than like just the city of Chicago. City of Chicago, most of them are just firefighters
Mm-hmm.
or paramedics. In most of the suburbs, you got to have to be both, just because of staffing.
Did you go in your local town? Where were you at the time?
Oak Forest. So I went to the Oak Forest Fire Station, and how do I do this? I have no idea. This is like before, like there was a lot of internet, right? Like you got the whole dial up, and all the weird noises that come with it. And you're there for 20 minutes, where we could just click and ask Google any question. That wasn't a thing then.
Yeah.
So
you showed face.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
That goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially today.
Yes, for sure. So we did that, and that's how I got into the fire service. And I was a part-time firefighter, and then I got into the sprinkler fitters, started doing that, but I couldn't let go of the fire service for whatever reason. Even though like the sprinkler fitters was a great trade, great money, great benefits, I kept being pulled to the fire service. So they're
very related.
Yes, they are. They are, but they aren't. It's weird.
Yeah.
So then, as you're going through, as we're going through, it's time passes quick. We got 3 kids. They're in travel. All 3 of them are travel sports, travel this, doing that. You're busy, right? You're going 100 miles an hour, trying to do everything, trying to coach their teams, trying to do everything. And my wife's trying to be team mom, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to help out.
Yeah.
Just be involved. We dove into our kids head first, and we gave everything to them, and I don't regret them any minute of it,
Yeah.
because I miss those days now. Even though they were chaotic, I miss them. But yeah, doing that. And then as I'm going through, you get to a point where you get too old and you can't become a full-time firefighter because of age. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this test for the full-time test. And I'm like, I'm just going to take it and see what happens.
What age were you at when you had that thought?
Mid-30s.
Okay.
Yeah, mid-30s.
How long were you a part-time firefighter until then?
So I was probably 7 years, 8 years.
So you've been through it.
Yeah.
How long before you realized, well, I guess you realized it with your daughter, the safety and things.
Mm-hmm.
But how long before you found yourself in I'm never going to forget this?
Oh my.
Is it right away?
Dude.
First day on the job or what?
Maybe not the first day, but there's stories and it's not just me, it's everybody in that, whether you're a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic, they can write a novel.
I bet. I'd like to get I want to get a police officer because it reminds me, I had a situation one time when I was younger. Yeah. I was living in Chicago and we came out of a building and we just got rolled on real hard by undercover police. And I don't know why. Yeah. Apparently there were people selling drugs in the building or something. So they just were asking us questions, I seemed out of nowhere. And a car door half a block down closed, and the police officer ducked back, had his hand on his gun. He was ready for action. And I was like, man, you're really on edge, because that just means obviously you've been through some really rough situations. And then it kind of opened my eyes because I don't know if paramedics get such a bad rap, but I feel a lot of times people are they just have bad things to say about the police
all the time.
And man, you're in a compromised situation. So are you, every single day of your life, how can you not have the utmost respect and reverence for that? And I know there's this and that with people, but, just being committed. And I wonder if there should be terms on stuff like that because it's got to wear you out.
Yeah, yeah, and you're absolutely right. And the best way I can kind of make the analogy, everybody has those days at work where they just put it in cruise control, right? Where they just need to, you know what, I need, no nonsense. Like I'm just beat up because of family life. You work too much, whatever happened, right?
Yeah.
You need an easy day today, right? And in most careers, there's a way to do that. You're still being productive, but there's a way where you could have like, oh, today's going to be a good day, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that in the first responder community. You can pretend you're going to, you can act like you're going to try for it, but you got to be there on people's worst day. And that's for the PD, fire, anything. It's 0 to 100 in seconds, and
Yeah.
you're just gonna make it happen. And it's cool. It's cool in one sense, but there is a burnout. I definitely say.
What do you think? Because you said you went full time around 33. Were you doing both?
About 30, 34, 35 maybe. I 35. Yeah, I was right at the limit.
Okay. To go full time?
Yes.
And how long do you think that lasts? You go full time to what? 65?
Till I'm dead.
So
I don't know. I don't know what the future holds.
But why did you think there was a limit? There's a limit on your age?
No, there's a limit when you get hired.
Oh.
So they, like when you take out an application.
Okay.
And
I
it's
thought
with the
you meant
pension system.
I thought you meant a limit, like, all right, well, by the time I'm 50, I can't.
No.
So, all right, so there's a limit. So you have to get in before a certain.
Right. And then there's there's ways, like if you're already in the fire service in some way, that you can then test when you're older than 35. And there's so many rules, and they change, I feel like, almost every yearly, so.
So while we were working together on that project,
Yep.
You were a firefighter full time?
Yeah.
Not part time.
No.
So you were doing that and that
And
full
then-
time.
Yes. So I was, every day that I wasn't at the firehouse,
Yes.
I was working on a job site.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is. It was like I averaged, because even, in the construction trades, and you knew what I was also doing. I wasn't just installing. I was installing, but I was selling jobs. I was doing proposals, things like that.
Right.
So I go home, and then there was, so much office work to do, and planning and getting bids together and stuff like that. And also ordering material for other jobs
Yeah. And family.
and family.
Do you think that's a good thing? Because, I remember some situations. Do you think it's good to be distracted kind of after you get out of firefighter mode? So you're not kind of stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you would be stuck there, but the way I am, I feel like I would be very stuck if I didn't have something to fall into or dive into.
For sure. There's definitely coping mechanisms, right? And it's some days, you're in there, you go to work, and you have 20 calls, and you're just helping elderly people that fell.
Yeah.
Everything went good today. Nothing terrible.
Right.
But then you have those extreme calls. And when you come off, so my wife knows this now, right? She's watched it, where when I come home, there's like a portion where I need to decompress,
Mm-hmm.
On a bad day, because we're there for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get some sleep, sometimes we don't. And if you're up for 24 hours and people are trying to fight you and attack you and scream at you and spit in your face and do all these other great things and tell you all these colorful wording about what they're going to do to your family and all these things, and all you're doing is trying to help these people, but whatever, you're the punching bag at the moment.
Right.
So you have all these situations, and you're doing it, and then you come home, and so you go from this chaos to now this is my sanctuary. It takes a little bit to get in that mindset. And so my wife, she always is like, "Hey, is there any calls you want to talk about? Or anything you want to?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's very, very helpful.
It's rough with kids. I mean, how is that the sanctuary? I mean, with younger kids, I think.
Correct.
That's
so you got to have that time to decompress, and whatever it is, it's going to the gym, it's falling into faith, falling into whatever you can to, really self-soothe. You want to feel good. And the things you want to avoid, right? Drugs, alcohol, those are all common things.
People fall into as a coping mechanism.
100%. They just want to feel good. They want to fill their brain with dopamine and feel good. And the bad thing and the good thing, right? You got people going away from drinking all the time or drugs and stuff like that, which is a positive, or gambling, right? That's a positive. But you have at your fingertips this phone that just throws dopamine at you nonstop. So we may not, in the future, I see that there's not going to be so much of an alcohol problem. There's still going to be, but there's still going to be somewhat of a drug problem. There's always going to be gambling issues. But I think the worst is going to be the zombie scrolling, right? Like where people just sit there and just, and it's by design. And that's the scary thing, like you could spend 3 hours now. Like I'm not on social media, but I was at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for it.
You will be.
Yeah. So,
when this goes on,
you
will be.
Well, I am with the charity too. So,
yeah.
But me personally, like I don't have any like personal profiles or anything, but you just fall in like the YouTubes, the shorts, like, and then I dove into it big time, like trying to understand the psyche behind it for marketing reasons and for everything. But if you think about, like, if you go to a movie theater, you watch a movie, it's 2 hours long, you enjoy the movie. You have all these emotions during the movie, whether it's action, it's romance, it's whatever, sadness, but you have all these emotions, and then you leave and okay, but when you leave a movie theater, most of the time you're not looking to get up and go take a jog, right? You usually go to the movies at night and you kind of just go right to bed. Yeah. So now what they're giving you is these 30-second clips of a movie that's simulating that dopamine in your brain first thing in the morning, and you're going to scroll through 100 of them. Yep. And when you get off of that, if it's an hour, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 2 hours, you feel good. You're not going to feel good.
You're drawn to it.
You're drawn to it.
You're very drawn to it.
Yeah, because the dopamine in your brain is releasing. It's
I don't know if I notice a crash or anything, like coming down, but I do. I'm like, man, why am I looking at this thing? Like I do find myself like, why am I looking at it? Or I'm like, oh, I got to take a shit. Yeah. Got to grab my phone.
Right.
And but contrary to that, because there's like, it's kind of like a stepping stone. Hopefully we don't step on it too long.
Yes. That's a very good point. Yeah. If you can find that balance.
Yeah.
In anything.
But what it takes us into, not the phone specifically, is something I'm really like, I was like blown away. I don't know about other like VR headsets, but have you ever put on the Vision Pro?
No, I did do like the Oculus.
All right. So like, I don't know what it is. I know the Oculus, it's very like believable, right? Mm-hmm. But I went to this, I went to Apple. I hope I can say these things. I don't know, but I did. That's part of my life. I went there, I put on the Vision Pro, and they give you like a test run. Yeah. And I'm like, they like put you in, and they're like, oh, like now you're in an environment. And I'm like, oh, like, so this is like the desktop. And they're like, no, it's an environment, they're like, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. And then they're like, they're like bringing stuff up. And then they're like, yeah, it has recording capabilities. And like now we're going to like show you like we recorded at like a birthday party. And they like put you there, and you're like, you feel there. You're like, oh, wow. Like you can see it. It's indiscernible. Like in some part of yourself that's like you feel there, right? Yeah. You don't have the wind, you don't have the temperature, whatever's there, but you feel it feels very real. And then they're like, oh, now you're like by Alicia Keys. And I was like, she's like right there. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, and I had a chemical change, like a physiological change. And I was like, even though I know it's not real, my chemistry doesn't. Mm-hmm. And that was like really kind of eye-opening about like what it means and like how we're going to use it in the future. And I hope, it translates to something, I don't know if it's like that, but it's more immersive where you're not kind of like a zombie, but you're engaged. I don't know if that's a better or worse thing, because then why be a part of reality?
Exactly.
Right? Who knows? It's a very weird slope. And that I think everybody should try. Like, I don't think it's done great for them, like financially or like the charts. I know it's a big ticket item. I haven't bought one because of it,
Yeah.
but it was an experience that I would say it's probably like, it's gotta be similar to, like a childbirth, or it's very like mind blowing. So
I'm gonna have to
anyways,
check that out.
yeah.
I haven't checked it out. I did the Oculus. My oldest son brought it over, and I got to be Batman for a while. So I
Really?
thought that was cool.
Was
Yeah.
it? I
Yeah.
haven't.
It was. I mean, we were we were hosting. I think it was Christmas at my house,
Yeah.
and I had family members over, and I'm all of a sudden I'm almost in the Christmas tree fighting villains as Batman. And it was awesome. Like I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like
Yeah. I gotta try that too. I
had,
just gotta
had to
taste.
look ridiculous, but yeah,
You're in there.
yeah, I'm fighting the air. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you don't punch over the TV or grandma.
It was getting close to the Christmas tree, so
Was
I was
it?
like, all right, I need to step back.
Yeah. Well, you never know. That might be like there might be some therapeutic usage in the future or something.
For sure.
Or even like a lot of people, I feel like in similar situations, they can't handle it. Like you're one that can, and you have really good outlook, and you found ways to deal with it. But like a lot of people can't.
No, there's actually a lot of people that get out of the whole job because it's just too much. And there's no judgment from me on them or anything like that. It's not everybody can do it. Like, for instance, when I talk to my wife about it, now, obviously, I can't say names, I can't say this or anything like that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I know the limit that I can tell her about. I can't describe what I saw. I can't describe the environment because she can't handle it. She's just like,
Yeah.
listen, babe, this is your job, not mine. Like,
Yeah.
I can't, like, it grosses me out. I get sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And she's like, I get depressed hearing about it. Right. Like, so I know the limits, and early on, it was easy to find those, she's like, nope, like, and I'm like, all right, I get it.
Don't you? Yeah. 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 It makes me think if there's a way to expose people to it early on, you weed out a lot of. Because it's a lot. It's like you committed and then you're in it and you're like, oh shit, now what?
Right.
And it's like my family, I got to keep, I can't just duck out,
For sure. And I think if you watch, like some people just have issues with blood and guts. Like
Yeah.
you could turn on whatever TLC or whatever Life in the ER or something. And can you watch an hour episode of the gore that they show? And are you okay afterwards? Like, okay, then you should be okay. Now you're not adding all of the smells and the environment. Because Life in the ER,
Yeah.
they're showing you at a hospital room that's a controlled environment.
Right.
You're walking into somebody's house that may be mass chaos. It may be a hoarder's house. There may be animal feces and gross things everywhere, and now you have to take care of said patient that looks like that's in the ER, but out here in this. And there's a lot of smells. There's a lot of outside variables that you don't know what's behind the door. You don't know what's coming at you. You don't know these things, but you need to focus on that, and it's.
Do you get attacked? Because you mentioned like people spitting on you and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
is it people with mental health situations that just.
For sure. Yeah, there's those situations. There's domestics. Domestics are very volatile,
So
any
you
way
show
put
up
it.
for domestics? There's not police?
There's police too.
Okay.
But we're usually brought in when either somebody's injured in a domestic,
Okay.
if there was any kind of battery or assault.
Okay.
We're also brought in for psych evaluations.
Okay.
If you think, like, watch Jerry Springer, watch any of those, right? Like when the domestics get heated, people say things they don't mean.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they use certain words, that triggers a response where, okay, now you're a danger to yourself or to someone else. So that means you need to be evaluated, right?
Oh, right.
Because you don't want somebody, young kids, it's very common, the volatile feelings and, well, if you're not with me, I'm going to kill myself, right? And it may have been just a word and you have you're never going to do something like that.
Right.
But you said the words.
Right.
So you have to take every statement like that like it's an actual threat. Because if you walk away, the last thing you want to know, you don't want to come back there in 4 hours because they ended up doing that.
Right.
It's a waste of a life. That's terrible.
Like that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So
but, yeah, and then sometimes the psych situations, they just, or people are heavily intoxicated and they may be roaming around. People on overdose, so if you figure somebody that maybe overdosed on heroin,
okay,
they probably did whatever they could to get that bit of product.
Mm-hmm.
They sold whatever, they did whatever.
Yeah.
They got that bit of product, and that product, they then overdosed on it. They were doing everything they can to get that high. And then we have a drug on the ambulance that takes that high away immediately. 100%.
What is it?
Narcan.
Okay.
So we give Narcan right in the veins and within seconds. So if somebody's overdosed, they're not breathing, because opiates are like a respiratory depressant.
Yeah.
And that's how people die. They just stop breathing.
They're used a lot in...
Turn blue.
Yeah.
And so you give them some Narcan, and then they come back. They're very upset. They're not happy you saved their life.
Really?
Oh, they're very angry.
I'm sure.
They're very angry.
Not funny, but
yeah, no,
it's like you bring someone back from the dead.
Yeah.
And they want to kill you for it.
For sure. Right.
Do some people try? Are they like, hey, I was trying to kill myself?
There's always those situations, but usually when it's drug abuse, they're not trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
They're just trying to achieve that high.
Wow. I remember working together,
mm-hmm.
and I think it was directly after something. You're always very happy. And you weren't not happy, but you just seemed a little more distant, and you're a very engaged person. And I asked you, like, what's going on, And we've been working together for a while.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, if you want to know, I'll show you. And I said, yes, I do want to know. And you can. And I remember seeing a picture of the inside of an ambulance.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, it kind of wrecked me a little bit.
The aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath. And you're like, oh, I was cleaning that. And I was like, you were cleaning it? I'm thinking, because like you don't even think, like you do all the work and then you still have a truck that has to get cleaned. You're not like sweeping out mulch. I mean, it's like, it's pretty involved. I never crossed my mind, and I don't know what.
I remember that call. That call was
what happened on that? We never got into it. I don't know if it was not the time, but I kind of was wondering.
That was a murder. And that was domestic.
Okay.
That turned into a murder.
Oh.
And that was just, it was a kid. I can't say kid. He was an adult, right? He was older than me, but there was some sort of aggression towards his father or stepfather. There was something like that. That's the police will find out those details, But all we know is we got called to a scene for a gunshot wound.
Okay.
And we got dispatched to that. We went to the gunshot wound, run upstairs, or walk in, and when you walk into any scene, you're automatically making notes in your brain as you walk in, right? So you're going to a GSW, so you know that it's a crime scene.
GSW?
Gunshot wound.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so you're just like making mental checklists because there's a good chance that you're going to go to court for this too. Right.
Okay.
And so you're just but also you want to so PD's there. They showed up right before us, and then they got us in right away. So the scene was secure. Walk in, you see the weapon on the ground. To walk around it, and they're like, patients upstairs. So you go upstairs and you go in there, and it was a gunshot wound right to the center of the head, and the guy was still alive.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so we worked him.
What do you mean worked him?
Meaning we did everything we can to keep him alive. When you get a gunshot wound to the head, there's a lot of times where you're not working them because there's no signs of life.
Yeah.
This situation was different.
Okay.
It was a very different situation, but so it was a very gory call, because they're with us right now, there's always arguments of, do you even work that, try to bring them back to life. There's There's not going to be sustainable life, but
What's the quality, right? If you save somebody like that?
Yeah, but and the other thing is you're not God. It's not up to us to decide that. This person's alive right now. We're going to do everything we can to keep them alive.
So it's protocol all the time.
Yeah, and our protocols change.
Okay.
You know, like now our protocol where if there's visible brain matter,
Okay.
you know, and then there's situations where you don't do the life-saving measures because it's a waste of resources, you know. But there's a fine line, you know, and you just want to make sure you're doing everything right. And all of us always err on the side of caution, right? Like,
Yeah.
We're going to do the best we can.
Yeah. If there's any chance,
Yeah.
then you're going to take every
We'll go
measure.
for it. Yeah. So in this situation, that's what it was. And we were doing CPR, and unfortunately it was like a fountain, you know, and it was a mess. It was a mess. It was everywhere. But
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Because visually, when I saw it,
yeah,
it literally looked like
there was a lake of blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It looked like someone was murdered in the ambulance. Like it was on everything.
Yeah.
So it was just basically
We were covered. I mean,
it was spraying on everything.
yeah.
I wouldn't think you had that much blood in your brain, but I guess it comes out.
Comes out everywhere.
When I was little, I used to think I was just full of blood, and if I cut my toe, maybe it would all drain out.
Just
the bottom.
straight out. Just get it all out.
Maybe
Okay,
not. It's not the
yeah.
case. You learn.
Platelets will probably close it up for you, though. So
Yeah. So that's what was going on the day before.
yeah. So that was in the middle of the night. So God, I hate to say that there's been so many of them, but there are so many different calls, right? But I feel like that one it probably came in around 2:30 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and so it took a good 2.5 hours to clean that up. I mean, going through getting all the biohazard stuff out, because we know that when we leave the hospital, we're available to get the next call.
Yeah.
And we got to respond. Can't respond to somebody if our ambulance is filled with somebody else's blood, right? That's gross. So we were cleaning out, but it was a good long time, and then we ended up getting a call on the way back, and then we went on another call, and then I got off that morning. So there was no sleep. There was dealing with all of that, you know, and there's emotional value, right? Like, this guy killed his father. Like, we saw him. Him and I made eye contact, you know, like.
Yeah.
And
what is that like? Is there any psych that you're required to do, or do you do like psychiatric counseling? I mean, is it even helpful? Like, how do you?
So there is a value in that. There is a big value. We have like a peer support network where they train other firefighters.
Okay.
To where if you see something that's been rough, that you should go and counsel. If there's like a bad call, like internally, like the administration will call in counselors.
Okay.
Like, for instance, we had one of our old lieutenants ended up dying on our call.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he retired for a year, maybe 2 years. He was always a good guy, and I remember being around him, you know, throughout my career and stuff like that. And then we get dispatched to his house, and he ended up passing away. So they brought in like counselors for us because we were there on his last moments, and just to kind of talk through, you know, and you're with other firefighters, and some guys and girls like the one-on-one, not around everybody.
Yeah.
Some find value with more people.
Okay.
But you're allowed to just get your emotions out. You let some tears out. You swear. You do whatever you need to do to get it out, right?
Yeah.
And talk about it. But everybody has their way to feel good, to feel better from it.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's always kind of just talking through it, like doing the experiences, because maybe I'm cheating my brain by saying it's desensitizing me. I don't know. But, you know, but then there's times where those things kind of creep up on you, you know, and
You're crying in the shower?
No.
I cry in the shower.
I only cry in the shower when I sing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
because it's that beautiful.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
We have microphones.
Yeah, right.
can-
Yeah, no. It turns out everyone in my house starts to cry when I sing. So,
Me too.
Yeah,
I get yelled at.
yeah.
Got off in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But there's times where it just kind of creeps up on you. There's a certain smell that maybe your brain attaches to a situation you were in, and things kind of creep up in you, or you go into a scene that something that you saw at this house or this scene, and now you see it somewhere else, and it brings you back. And it's just about being proactive and being on top of it. So going back to that scene. I'm leaving there. I go there. I get off in the morning, and then I go right to work with you.
Yeah.
And then you see me, and then you go and deal with all those things, and you put pipe up, working, and stuff like that. So I could see why I was probably a little, maybe not as happy-go-lucky that morning, right? But I hope I wasn't a crab ass or too extreme. But
no, you were not at all. You always have a very good spirit about you. When I saw that, it made me think like, wow, like I should be a better person. Like it made me think that, because we all handle stress, right? Like differently. And in construction, like for me, it's like really stressful.
Oh yeah.
Some things.
Yeah.
And then when I think about that, it helps me put it into a new frame.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it helps me deal with it better. It's like, this is not real.
Yeah.
Like this is all like imagined,
Yeah.
Oh, if it doesn't work and it's that, and yeah, it's money and things like that. And it's, we need it for society. But if, everything disappeared, I have my health, I have my family, the project isn't the most important thing in the world. And being in a good spirit is.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was like, it stuck with me. And that's why I reached out to you, obviously, because it's not always easy to be in a good spirit, but it's when it sticks with you, you remember that it's a good idea to figure out ways to get yourself there and not kind of indulge in like bad thinking or like arguing, because it's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It made it so obvious, like what's the point? And not that you can't argue, relationships or whatever. It's, you got to grow and you see things differently. But I think having that fundamentally as a baseline was a real eye opener. It helped me for sure. Like, I'm growing up.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm getting older, It's good. I think people should be. I mean, it's only a matter of time before you're kind of forced into some traumatic situations.
Yeah.
And I think that I think it's good. I think knowing what it is actually involved in other people's lives.
For sure.
Because you never know, right? It's like the person at the gym. Like, I'm set up in front of this sink. I got my toothbrush. Guy shows up and stands right in front of the sink I'm using.
Yeah.
It just starts. And then you think like, what's wrong with this guy? Or like, what, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, you want to, and really it's like, it was kind of easy, especially after exercising, to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, and just like move over.
Yeah.
And it's like not a big thing, because to just keep yourself in a good feeling place is like more important, because in a moment, something could take me out of it that I have no control over. And I am not as vulnerable to that as people that are in your situation, So
I got real quick a thing I want to touch on. There's something my wife taught me with that is I'm happy-go-lucky, I'm whatever, but when I'm driving, especially back in the day, I always had this little high level of road rage, and not like where I'm getting out of the car and pulling people through their windshield, right? But
okay,
but like if somebody did something stupid, I'm laying on the horn,
Yeah.
And somebody was doing something. They were probably looking at their phone, and they should have been going, and then I just lay on the horn for this long horn, right? And she's like, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Because they need to pay attention." She goes, "Have you never made a mistake before?" And I'm like, "Well, now that you're asking, and of course I got to be a smart ass and make a joke, right?" But but then I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "You know what that dish did to that person?" And I go, "Yeah, I got him to move." She goes, "No, but what do you think happened to that person?" She goes, "If when somebody blows the horn at you for that long period of time, she goes, and some people aren't fazed by it, but a lot of people, you have the potential of ruining the rest of their day.
Yeah.
Or putting them on this baseline of in a negative, starting out their day or carrying on their day that way, which then their feelings are going to reverberate to their family and who they're around to. They're going to be a little bit more on edge, all because you couldn't just go a little toot. And I'm like,
women.
yeah, but I'm like,
I
never thought,
so
I didn't want to
true,
admit
yeah.
it in front of her, but I'm like, you're crazy. It doesn't happen, but I started like thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, why am I going to, you don't feel good when you ruin somebody's day. The brain will tell you, the devil on your shoulder will tell you, you're vindicated. Yeah.
Right.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah. You had every reason. You're justified.
Exactly.
As long as you're justified, then you could be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's something I was thinking about a lot lately.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to justify.
100%. Our brain will work against us for the positivity, and it's like, I
had good reason.
Yes. Yeah. And then when you start thinking back and it's like, if you break it down even more, what is our job? All of us, our job in life. And we've taught our kids this, and I've said it to them, and they're probably, if they ever listen to this, they're going to hate that I even bring it up because I've said it to them so many times. Your job in life is to make the world a little bit brighter than you found it. That's it. Whatever that looks like, you are to make the world a little brighter than you found it. If everybody does this and does that, imagine the type of world we would live in.
Oh yeah.
But it starts at one, and again, I'm a faith-driven man, right? Like, and I'm very close with my relationship that I have with God, right? And it's like all of life's answers are in the 11 rules he gave us. Like, you want to be happy? You want whatever it is. People think if you buy that Lamborghini, the Maserati, whatever it is, that's going to give you happiness. That doesn't give you happiness. It's just stuff. What gives you happiness is if you can follow these things and do good and put out good, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
And that should be everybody's job. That should be their mentality. Unfortunately, I think the world becomes a little too more secular and it's like everybody starts becoming their own God, right? Like it's, I need to feel good. I need this. And it's like, if you did something good for somebody else, imagine go back to your I that you talked about, how good you're going to feel. You feel good. It feels good to do good.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
No, there isn't. It's true. It is. And back to the driving thing, because it's along the same line. It's like when you're laying on the horn because someone cut you off, because you think, like you assume they're just like some ignorant asshole. And sometimes they are. But sometimes it's grandma.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I yelling?
Yeah.
Why am I yelling at grandma?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, and I'm not a road rage person either, but sometimes it does catch up, and it's true though. If you can,
and they probably just made a mistake. You were in their blind spot. They didn't see it.
Right. Like what happens when people make mistakes?
Right.
If you're so quick to judge,
it's gonna suck when the shoe's on the other foot. It's living in that glass house, chucking boulders.
Yeah. That's why, like, I don't know if it's a good point or not, but it feels like for some reason I had this realization. I was under the impression like any expression of like definitive knowledge is an expression of ignorance, because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that can be debated in a billion ways.
For sure.
But it's kind of like giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Even if they're in the wrong, gives you the ability to stay in the right. Because if you're like, if they were doing it on purpose because they're an ignorant asshole, now you're knocked off your square.
Yeah.
Right? Where if you say, hey, people make mistakes, and living a life as an ignorant asshole is a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't mean it. They don't want to do it. I've done it. I've been there where you just can't, everything's crumbling. There's, you feel like, and then how do you show up in good ways, you know? And I don't know if you can, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if you can. So I don't think it's necessarily like just you have to do it. I think it's just kind of like there's patterns in existence that some people are a part of in their life, and circumstantially, it's just something you have to move through.
It is. It is. It's kind of the cycle repeats itself. If you look at their families, right? You can kind of see that certain families are kind of, whether they're in their situation positive or negative, it's the cycle's repeating.
Yeah.
Until somebody decides to break that cycle.
Yeah.
And make the change. Whether it's a negative change or a positive change, it happens both ways. But we're kind of predisposed where we were born to, you're going to be like this, you're going to be like that, because when we were growing up and when we were young and very influential, and our brain was this huge sponge, how we were disciplined or lack thereof, or whatever may have happened, or not having that security as a child, or having too much security as a child.
Right.
You know, there's so many different things, right?
I know.
And then that kind of dictates your future, right? Like if you have somebody who parents may not have been involved in their life the whole time, and there's this level of neglect, when they get older, their life is riddled with fear.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the serotonin level in the brain of feeling secure. And so now everything in their life is, and for them to change it, it's going to be very difficult.
You're right. I think too, though, it's always very difficult for everyone.
100%.
And I think a lot of people think like, oh, and not everyone's, they have this easy life and this easy, and look at the way their parents are and this. But I was actually talking about this yesterday, because at a certain point, you live enough life to know that you are a conditioned result. And at that point, if you have the awareness, then you have the awareness to say, hey, this is who I am. I know how I got here. Now, if you blame your past, you can be a victim, and it's not, and you could continue on in that pattern. But if you say, okay, I'm going to accept who I am, now you have the wherewithal to start to make changes.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, it's the responsibility of an adult to change their condition as long as they can see it. Some people never see it.
Unfortunately,
it's the reason I am this way, because everything is because. But that's what being an adult is.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was little, I didn't realize a lot of people, they grow up, but they don't become adults. You know?
That's a very wise statement. 100%.
Thank you.
No, that is. That's good. I mean, I feel like we're solving all the problems of the universe today. I really think. I think we're going on to something here. But no, but you're absolutely right. Like it's being accountable, you know, and it's, do you want to wear that victim hat? Do you want to wear that, you know, proactive hat? Like there's so many different facets of it, but you're 100% right. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of adulting going on, and it's scary. And it's not me judging them.
Right.
It's because they haven't realized it yet, because that's what mom and dad used to do. Well, that's what my uncle used to do. You know, like there's always this, well, they were able to get through life, so I'm just going to follow suit.
Right.
You know, it's no different than that person that uses an ism. Well, I can't do that just because of this.
Right.
And it's like, no, like it's going to be more difficult maybe for you, but you still can achieve these things. Don't put ceilings on yourself, you know, and it's blow through those ceilings.
Right.
And there's actually a high when you get to do that, right? When you blow through those glass ceilings in your mind.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is. There's definitely light at the end of the tunnel.
For sure.
Always.
Yeah. Thinking about it with your art, I'm confident the first picture you drew didn't look like a couple of those that I saw, right? And when you did it, you know, and you drew it, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, maybe I got something here. And then you really dove into it and you did something. You put a ceiling on yourself until you saw what you were able to come through. And now it's like, that's therapeutic for you, right? I'm assuming
it's very
right?
therapeutic for me. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
And I've always done it. And it lets me try to see myself, because I'm never going to be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking on that, if I can, one thing, because I've been in school for art and different things. Some people ask like, well, how do you get, and I don't consider myself like a great or good in any sort of way. So usually for me, I'm like, kind of like, well, it sucks, you know, you don't even know. but they're like, how do you get to where you are? And it's like, well, you make progress and then you regress. You're worse. And then you can't even figure out how you ever did something that was at a level, because you just don't see yourself at that level, but you know you made it because it's there, but it's not who you are. And if you keep working, eventually you'll break through that to the next level, and then that becomes your baseline.
For sure.
And only because I've continued to draw and keep things, I see that. And it's led me to reflect and say, like, oh, wow, as long as I keep at things,
consistency is the path to success, no matter what.
Yeah. When all else fails, I heard this, and I'm going to say it. I think it was Benny. I think it's my father said it. When all else fails, persistence prevails.
That's beautiful.
And, you know, I like that, because it means, like, you're supposed to go through this shit.
Yeah.
That's what fortifies you.
Yeah.
That's what gives you character.
Yep.
And if you're in a hard time and you're losing your mind and you're losing everything around you, well, good. Try not to hurt people.
Yeah.
And if you can continue, you're going to be great, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's possible for everybody.
For sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You never know.
Right.
But some people are dealt a bad hand. What other situations are on your top 3 of, like, worst?
You're asking the call. Worst calls.
Huh? Yeah, I want to know.
Oh, God. Okay, going back to the job site situation, right? A whole nother call.
Yeah.
And talking about perspective, there was one thing I want to talk about is I remember pulling, it was a 17-year-old kid that was dead in a car. I'm pulling his body out of the car while another person in the car was still alive, and we're just like getting them out, you know, and it was in the middle of the night. It was a bad wreck. It was a car accident. And it sucked. You know, my kid, one of my children were around the same age, you know, and it was like, you know, it starts triggering that response in your brain where, man, this could be my kid, right? Like, and then you feel awful for their parents, and your brain goes down a whole nother path, and it's terrible. And you do this, and then I go to a job site, and as soon as I walk on the job site, the guy is going crazy because a piece of pipe was blocking the ductwork.
Not my job site.
No,
right.
But it was the end of the world for this guy, right? Like,
right.
And I'm staring, I'm listening to this guy, and he's just chewing me out about why this piece of pipe. I didn't even put it up; it was somebody else. But I'm like, and he's just unloading, and I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, again, the brain is like, hey, asshole, like, somebody just lost their kid. Like,
right.
That's what's going on, and you're worried about this piece of pipe that can be unscrewed and fixed like that, but it's the end of your world, you know? I didn't say any of that because I kind of took it as a lesson to kind of peel back, and it's like, okay. And I put his shoes on. That's a big deal in his world. He doesn't know what that family's going through or what our crew saw or any of that.
Or you, for that matter. What you have such a selfless approach. It's really great. Well, it's inspiring.
I had to ask, you know, like, why is this the end of the world? And it's like, because this is his entire world, you know, and for him this is a big deal. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I didn't tell him what I was just on. I didn't tell him what we saw because that's not for him.
Yeah.
His path is what he's doing. And this really pissed him off. And this was like the end of the world to him. And it's like, I got an easy fix for all the problems you have going on right now. I'm blessed because I'm able to fix the biggest problem you have today, right? Like, and that's the way I looked at it. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll take it down right now.
Yeah.
Threw a couple elbows in and a couple 90s.
CPVC?
Yeah, no, that was steel.
Oh.
So it was just, okay.
Yeah.
Taken care of. And he's like, okay, thanks.
Because he usually doesn't get that. He usually gets the debate and why he needs to, and everyone needs. Yeah, because that's what it is. Especially, people always want to say who's wrong.
For sure.
Especially Italians. Someone told me, because I don't know what it is. When two Italians are together, one of them always knows what the other one's doing wrong.
Yes, yeah,
I
that's
thought that
good.
was hilarious.
That's good.
I don't know why, but yeah, in construction.
But worst calls, there's tons of them. The ones with the kids are terrible. I think the worst one I ever had was I had somebody commit suicide right in front of me, and that was probably the worst one.
How did they do it?
They blew their brains out.
You watched it?
Yeah, it happened right in front of me.
How old
that was I'm not gonna lie, that was a tough call. That one bothered me for a little bit. And it still kind of creeps up here and there, but it was a call that was for like a difficulty breathing, and we get dispatched to a difficulty breathing, and it was for like an elderly male difficulty breathing. We pull up and we walk in, and as soon as we walk in, the family was like, I'm like, hey, fire department. And, and they're like, why are you here? I'm like, somebody's difficulty breathing. And they're like, oh, that's probably my husband. And then his son was there. And he's like, yeah, it's probably my dad. He's in the office in the back. And so then I walk in, and my crew is like getting, I got like the initial stuff, and my crew's getting the rest of the stuff right now. So yeah. I walk down this narrow hallway to like this little addition office, Four Seasons room type thing. And I walk in, and the guy's sitting there, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And when you get a difficulty breathing, you're looking for the color of the patient, if they're moving enough oxygen, you're looking for their work of breathing. There's things you assess just walking in, and you could see, like, are they tripoding, like if they're,
okay,
stuff like that means that they're having respiratory issues. I walk in and nothing like that's going on, so I'm like, okay. And then my mind is like, maybe it's anxiety, maybe something else is going on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, bud, what's going on? How you doing today? He's like, no, I just want to make sure you're here. And I'm like, no, okay, yeah, we're here. And then I notice, so there's a table, a standard table, kind of similar to this, maybe about 3-4 feet.
Yep.
And that's like his desk.
Okay.
And I'm standing where you're standing.
Yeah.
And I'm him. And he's got a gun with his finger on the trigger right here.
And when did you notice that?
As soon as I walked in. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Your brain is starting to analyze. Am I
in danger?
In danger? Is he going to turn it at me? What's happening? We get a call for a difficulty breathing. Your brain starts working one way. You walk in, and it's completely different to what's being shown. And then you start assessing different things in your head. And it's like, do I have time to jump over that table on top of him? Literally, he could just, like,
right.
There's not much movement there, It's
right.
not pulling it out of his back. It's.
Were you trained in that? Because, like, if I saw a gun, I'd be gone. Or like, so they don't, there's what's the protocol on that? I'm sure you have every right to attack him.
For sure, if you want to, in this situation, right? It's always scene safety. They always want to make sure that the environment's safe for you. So if you ever feel like in a situation, you exit the situation. Unfortunately, where I came down this hallway, entered the room, and then walked around, for me to exit is going to take some time. For me to jump on him, if this table wasn't here, it's a different story.
Right.
This table adds a whole nother tangible that's going to create time for me to secure his wrists.
Yep.
If I jump on top of him, I'm not fast enough to I don't know if anybody would be, right?
This is
your brain's going through these scenarios,
right.
And so then the next thing I see my partner starting to come down the hallway, and I kind of just do and he's like looking at me, and I'm like, and I have like a concerned look on my face without trying to give it away to this guy, because I
right.
don't know what's going on. And I tell him that, as soon as I do that, then the guy goes, oh, and I'm like, okay. And then my partner's like, get out. The family's screaming. Our officer on the outside is like, get out of the house, and they need to assess the situation. But in that moment, it was very similar to like you hear in the movies, right? Like where they do it's an accurate depiction where like the ears are ringing.
Yeah.
and you're kind of just shell shocked. You're like,
What's happening?
right, like you're just trying to like
Yeah.
you're trying to understand everything that just unfolded here.
Yeah.
And it's like it's messed up, man. You know, it's like how do you peel that back, right? And so I know I need to react. And then it triggers those response. You know, that fight or freeze, right?
Yeah.
And my normal responses are always like this fight, like
Yeah.
jump into it, and there's nothing to fight. So I'm like, okay, I need to exit, right? I was happy my partner was there because he's like, let's go. You know, like
Yeah.
it just gave me that reassurance, you know, that I needed to do. And then obviously our PD comes and everything like that. But
It was, I'm sure it was fatal immediately.
for sure. There was, you know, when somebody does that, usually there's mass quantities of blood that just pours out of their head, you know. And I think there's a video of like a congressman or something that did it on live TV in the 80s.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some video that was just like mass trauma when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Faces of Death or something like that.
Oh,
maybe.
well, there is those, but there was actually like a congressman that went on live TV.
Okay.
And he was going to get, I think he was being accused of stealing money or something like that. And so he had his press conference, he handed out envelopes, and then he opened an envelope with a gun and blew his brains out on live TV. And yeah, I don't recommend that for anybody. It's very graphic.
Yeah. But it was similar.
But that's what it is. It's just mass quantities of blood happen, you know. And so that's what happened. And then I know our chief came out to the scene, and he came up and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go home? You know, you should probably go home."
While you were there.
Yeah.
This is immediately after?
Well, after the scene is secured now, and we're going through doing paperwork and stuff like that and trying to figure out what's going on. The wife is obviously devastated.
Right.
And the family is upset, right? And your brain becomes your enemy because you're constantly like, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Should I have jumped over the table? Because now I've seen the end result of not jumping over the table.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put this on you.
Yeah,
but I would think that regardless, and the way I know my mind works, I would feel responsible.
For sure, you do. There's no way around it.
Yeah, there's no way around it, right?
No, like you absolutely do. Now, the sensible portion of my brain is I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't put that individual in that mindset, in that scenario. I didn't do any of that, right? And I did the right thing because I was able to get out alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually be there for my family and for everything else. So,
yes.
But your brain, your Monday morning quarterback, and hindsight's 2020, you know?
Right.
But the other tangible is if I would have jumped and I could have prevented what he ultimately, obviously what he wanted to do, does he turn it on me, then turn it on himself? All these different things.
Right.
Because now I am a roadblock for what he wants to do. And if somebody's in that mindset like he was,
right. Yeah.
he's very finite.
Right.
You know, it's you're taking away my opportunity of something I need to do.
Yes.
And if I need to eliminate you, then I will, and then I will take care of what I need to do.
Yeah.
If you let me do what I need to do, I'm just worrying about me, right?
Right.
There's so many scenarios that play that, you know, I still remember everything, how the house was laid out. Like, you just remember it all. It's like stamped in your head, you know, and it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
You know? But
all right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, the chief came out. He was really cool. And he's like, you want to go home? And I didn't want to go home then, right? Like because the crew is there and they understand the feeling. So it was towards the end of the shift, you know? So I'm like, okay, you know what? And then when I get home and I'm able to process this, I'll be able to talk it over with my wife and go through it. And your emotions don't come to surface right away either.
Were your thoughts suppressed right away? Because I find like I haven't had that, but immediately like the shock of it
For sure.
kind of wipes out thought, right? You kind of move into
100%.
like just a feeling sort of.
Yeah. You're kind of like a piece of chewed bubble gum for a little bit. You know,
Okay.
you're just kind of like, I joked around. I'm like, I just felt like I was going to sit there and drool on myself, like while everything's going on, and,
Yeah.
but we're able to talk it out, and stuff like that. And, but yeah, that was a tough one that's stuck around for some time, and it still creeps up here and there. But I'm able to discuss it, with my family and, when I need to, right?
But going back to Save the Universe,
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those times where like it's kind of important to have an ego, because so much I think about like not having an ego is identifying with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be really hard to identify with that situation in a rational way,
For sure.
because it doesn't lend itself to rationality.
No.
And justification is very rational, which is how we think, especially as men.
Yeah.
Mostly, it's how we come to terms with things. And you being able to put it in those parameters, I think is unique to you. I think that's what separates, allows you to be a great firefighter and continue to be a great firefighter, right?
I don't know about great. I have probably the best hair out of everybody, but so
Yeah.
no,
I hear you.
I'm as great as I need to be. I'm not better than anybody else. It's
But I feel like you have proclivities, right? You have tendencies.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I don't want to discredit you by saying they're God-given, because I don't know if they are. And I don't know if it's just a strong person and a weak person, like who knows, right? We don't know. And I just am very much in awe at just people that show up, that know how to show up. Like, how do they do it?
yeah.
And I'm not trying to put you on a pedestal,
Yeah.
but I think it's good. You should be celebrated. It's good to celebrate things and celebrate each other. And I don't know what that has to do with like not being an ego, but I don't mean it as an
For sure.
egotistical thing.
No, for sure. And there's a fine balance of, especially in the first responder community, because there's always that it's always said that first responders have this God complex, right? And they have these egos, right? And it's that the alphas, right? Like they have that type of personality. So there's a fine line there, right? Like you need to, and you said it very well, you need to have some sort of ego/confidence, but it can go a whole nother way if it does. And I've worked with people that have been that way, and it's like, oh, it's miserable working under them, right? Like, or working with them. But I mean, for me, if, going back to, I became a firefighter because my daughter had the seizure. I wasn't the kid that watched the fire trucks and said, that's what I'm going to do one day. Never was that. And then I fast forward, and the reason I got into the fire service was because of that situation with her. And the day I got hired to start full time, was on my daughter's birthday.
Oh,
Out of all of the days, out of 365 options,
right.
it ends up being on that day. So when you start looking at it, I'm like, it's meant to be. Like it's kind of right there. Like, and so that's like I tip my hat. I'm like, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I don't listen all the time, but I'm listening, and then I realized that it's not just the fire service, because now we transitioned to this Project Fire Buddies that was an idea that I feel that was a God-given idea to do more. And fast forward from what that was to what it is now, we've given over $2.7 million to kids, like to families. Like there's so I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be, right?
How did you get into Fire Buddies? I'm sure you've talked about this before with a lot of other people.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't know. And,
yeah.
How did it, like, what was the
Yeah, so
inception?
it was going on, we go on different calls. We've talked about those, and I mentioned that the kid calls kind of stick with you. And we were going on. There was a kid in town that was battling cancer. He was battling leukemia, and
so wait, before you do this, just give a blank. Like, what is Fire Buddies?
Oh, what's Project Fire Buddies?
Yeah,
Project Fire Buddies.
That'd be good so people know what.
For sure. Yeah. We start talking about something that they don't know about. Project Fire Buddies is a charity, and it's firefighters creating relationships and support for families battling pediatric critical illnesses. And now I can explain what that looks like, because that's the big fancy lawyer term. Right? Yeah. So what it is or why it was started was we're going on these calls. We had a young man battling cancer, and when kids are battling cancer, they spike these high fevers.
Okay.
And when they do, they need to go to the ER. They need to go get checked out. It's very grueling for these families to go through. Very grueling for the kids to go through, right? So this young man, we'd show up, and when we showed up, I noticed, I mean, think about when you have a fever, and your fever's at like a 104 fever. Like, you feel like crap.
Oh, yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Like me, I don't want people around me when I'm sick. I'm like, put me in a cave and don't bother me, right? Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah. Let
me deal with it and get through it. But you see these kids, and they don't understand, and this young man, we pull up with the fire engine, the ambulance, and he kind of brightens up a little bit, right? Even though he feels like crap, he brightens up, and I noticed that reaction. And then we transported him, and then I think about it. And I went back to the firehouse, and I went to all my senior firefighters. I'm like, hey, what can we do for this kid? Like, what? And then the answer I got was, we did everything that we can do. That's all we can do. And I'm like, there's got to be something more. But everyone's like, no, that's all we can do. We treated him well. We did everything. And I'm like, but I hated the answer. So I'm like,
it's probably to help yourself, right? Because you get attached to people,
sure.
Right? That's
for
probably
sure. It refills your cup.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay. So I broke chain of command. I went to the fire chief. I'm like, hey, I want to do something. I have no idea what I want to call it, but this is what I'm thinking. And he's like, okay. He goes, figure it out and just keep me updated. So we had another call out there, reached out to mom, said, hey, when he's feeling better, maybe we can come by, hang out, with him and his brothers. And she's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So she reached out to me, and we went over there, and she ended up like reaching out to like a local like newspaper Patch. It's called The Patch, if you're familiar with it, but It was a reporter that ended up being there, which we didn't know about. And she's awesome. She's been a huge fan of Project Fire Buddies since day one, literally. So before it was called Project Fire Buddies. And so we went over there, and we hung out. We turned the lights and sirens on because we're firefighters. We're obnoxious. We were okay with that. And we went over there, and we went and played air hockey with him. Played some air hockey with him and his brothers. Played some video games. They embarrassed us. It was, but dude, they were at the top of the world. They beat the firefighters. Like, the firefighters came to our house,
right,
to play with us. And then, I shot.
No, you're fine.
My hands are all over. I'm not even Italian, so not like you, but they loved it. They enjoyed every minute of it. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think we got something here, and what does it look like, and then she did a story on it, and it kind of blew up on social media. So then there was other kids in town that were battling cancer that started reaching out to the firehouse, and we're like, all right, we'll go hang out with you too, and, we're playing pie face with this little girl, and this little girl, she's so sweet. She's in the fight for her life, and she's just, you familiar with the game Pie Face?
No.
Okay. So Pie Face is like, you hit this little spinner, and then you put your head inside this thing, and at the end there's whipped cream. And if you hit like a 4, that means you got to turn the thing 4 times. And hopefully the thing doesn't pop up and hit you in the face. And this girl, she was really sick, and she was really feeling bad. And I got hit in the face with this pie, of course. I got the high spin, I don't ever get the high spin when I'm trying to Monopoly, but for this, I get the high spin, right? And I get hit in the face, and she let out this huge belly laugh.
Yeah.
And mom was so happy. She's like, she hasn't laughed in days.
Yeah.
She hasn't smiled in days. She goes, and I'm like, wow, like, this is okay. Like, this is a good thing, and then you start building it, right? And you start seeing where this could go. And we had a young man that was 17 years old, and he was a soccer star at the high school. Everything in his life was soccer. And he was diagnosed with bone cancer. And his whole future, he identified as a soccer player. Like, this is what he's doing. And he had to get his leg amputated.
Oh, no kidding.
So that kid's life is turned upside down. Me coming over to a 17-year-old's house and my crew to go play pie face with a 17-year-old goes over like a fart in church, all right? Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we had to think outside the box. So it's like, how do we help out this kid,
Yeah.
And I remember reaching out to the Chicago Fire soccer team and saying, hey, this is what's going on. And I talked to somebody in the office. I didn't know anybody there. It was a cold call.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, what are you looking to do? And I'm like, well, put the kid on the field. Let him meet the players. Like, give him a VIP experience, like once in a lifetime experience. And they laughed at me, And they're like, well, I don't think we could do that, And I'm like, well, then if you can't do it, give me somebody that can make that happen, And again, it's just the raw confidence of just being direct, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up working, where they gave me in contact with somebody, and then I said, and they're like, well, they're wishy-washy at first, and then I just explained, I'm like, okay, I want you to understand the viewpoint from this young man. His world is set. He's going to college for soccer. He's going pro. In his mind, he's doing it.
Right.
And then something happens to him that he didn't ask for, and it's tragic. This kid deserves the world. And they're like, you know what? You're right. We're going to give the family tickets to the playoff game. We're going to bring him out. He's going to meet the team. He's going to hang out. And I'm like, awesome. And I was so excited, like this is a win, and
yeah.
I remember telling my wife, I'm like, yeah, this is what we did, and she's like, oh, why don't you do that for everybody? That's a good point.
What does that mean? How do you do it for everybody?
Well, how do you do whatever that is for them?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Maybe it's bringing over a Barbie dream house. Maybe it's bringing over a PS5 or at the time PS4, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ideas she came up with that I said I did. So, but there's many of those, because there was another kid that was, we were going to visit, and we brought over, and me, I was tunnel vision on the child that was sick.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what'd you get for his sister? And I'm like,
what did you get for his sister?
Yeah. And I go,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, she's not sick. And she goes, oh, she's not going through anything? And I'm like, all right.
She's got a brother, right? She's got the situation in her life that's probably.
And I'm like, you know what? You keep me humble, kid. You keep me humble, And I'm like, it's a great idea. Like, how many times do organizations miss that mark where they, they'll help the child that's sick, but nothing happens for the rest of the family, And I'm like, okay. So then any child, now moving forward, these are like our standard operating procedures. This started in Oak Forest, and at that time it was solely funded from my and my wife's personal savings account. Like, because as a firefighter, people saw in the community what was going on and they want to donate.
Yeah.
But I can't take somebody's check and put it in my own personal account because I'll be fired the next day.
Right.
Plus the optics look terrible. Even if you have receipts, it just looks bad.
Yeah.
So I never wanted that to happen. So we did everything out of our own account before it became a 501c3 charity.
Okay.
And that's what we did. And then we hit a point where there was no more funds. And she's like, babe, we went through everything. The kids' college, we went through everything. Like we're going to lose the house. And I'm like, we need to do something. And this is my big faith moment here, right? Like, and I was at the firehouse. It was on Thanksgiving. And that was in 2019. Thanksgiving at the firehouse. I had a list of kids that needed gifts. I didn't have any more money. I just couldn't provide it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was on the apparatus floor at the firehouse. I was up late because I was stressed out. And I'm screaming at the ceiling, screaming to God. If any of the firefighters there came out, they would have locked me up, right? Like screaming like, hey man, you gave me this idea to do this. Like you've put the right people in my path to make this successful. And I'm stuck. How are we going to do this? And I was screaming. I was so angry. I didn't get an answer. And I was defeated. I went to bed. Now this is Thanksgiving. So now go home the next day, and then we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving on the Saturday with my family. Mm-hmm. So we do it. We're at my brother's house, and nothing's happened. You know, Friday, nothing happened. Saturday, nothing happened. I'm at my brother's house. It's loud there. There's a lot of people there, you know. Everybody's talking, having a good time. And I get a text on my phone that says, hey, call me, from a number I didn't know. And it was one of those like in the gut feelings, like, okay, I need to make this call. So I call the guy and I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, and he's like, he says who he is, but I couldn't hear what he said because it was loud in the background and I couldn't hear what he said. So I'm like, okay, you know, like if you want to help out, and we would have different people that would drop off certain toys.
Okay.
We would never just throw just random toys at kids. It was always quality over quantity, you know, so we wanted to find exactly what the kid had, you know, and they're like, well, you know, there's some kids that want this $20 toy. You can drop off this toy if you want to do that. And he's like, hey, you know, you didn't hear what I said. You know, my son plays tomorrow and we're going to help you out and stuff like that. And then it clicked. I'm like, your son plays tomorrow and tomorrow's Sunday. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? You know, and he's like, this is Chief Schofield, and he's a fire chief in a neighboring community, but his son's a Super Bowl 50 champ. And he was playing for the Chargers at the time. You know, he won the Super Bowl with the Broncos, with Peyton Manning, and then he's on the Chargers. He ended up being on the Bears too, but he's an offensive lineman. And him and his wife, Kendall Coyne Schofield, who's an Olympic gold medalist, she's on Team USA hockey. She's the fastest woman on ice. Like, she's incredible, right? Mm-hmm. They have a foundation. He's like, they're going to reach out to you. And I'm like, okay. And they reached out and they covered all the gifts, took care of all of it. And then to take it a whole nother step is we were trying to do our 501c3. I'm a construction worker. I'm a firefighter. I didn't know any of this, you know, and I'm trying to educate myself and trying to learn this because I would go to companies and ask them how much it would cost for them to set it up. And the going rate's $5K. Well, if I couldn't buy these gifts, I don't have $5K to give you.
Right, to build it out, for sure.
So I ended up, they came to the firehouse, dropped off the gifts. I told them the story. And Kendall's like, oh, my dad's a state's attorney. He can do it for you. And she set it all up. And then she actually paid all the fees for it too.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing. So like Project Fire Buddies wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that moment, you know, because it was tanking. And so then I go back and it's like, I was mad at God for a couple of days there, you know, and sure enough, it got answered. Right. And it's like, okay, this is okay. This is what needs to happen. So now that was a little drawn out. I apologize, but
no, it's fine. But
now we fast forward, you know, and we're now in 135 different fire departments across 11 states. It's a movement, you know, and it's like changing the fire service.
How long has it been an official charity?
January 2020 was when we became a 501c3 to this day. And our big thing is our swag, right? Like, so we get the most comfortable shirts. We don't, like, if you think about a fundraiser shirt, mm-hmm. they're always like putting on a cardboard box. Like, it's uncomfortable, you know? So in my marketing brain was, we want the most comfortable, most highest quality product mm-hmm. for when people buy them, they actually enjoy it. Like, if you think about it, you know, when you have a favorite t-shirt, you make sure that shirt's always clean, right?
Right.
So you always have it. And these are people's favorite shirts. And then when we look at it, we have moved 1.8 shirts every hour since January 2020 till now. We have over 80,000 shirts out there.
Oh, wow.
So
that's your main source of
it's
income.
not our main.
Donations.
Donations, our fundraisers. It's not our main, but early on, it's like, let's attack this like we do our retirement fund. You want to diversify your portfolio, right? That's what we do with this. So that way, if something dries up, the mission isn't going to fall on its face, which is helping the kids. And so we're going to pad it every way we can. And then we're always learning new things and growing. And, you know, we just recently got our first corporate sponsor, you know, and that was a big step. We never tapped into that market. So now we're tapping into that market. We're starting to tap into the market of grants, you know, and things like that. And then we have our e-commerce store that generates income. We have our monthly donations that generate income. We have a gala every year.
Okay.
And so our gala, most galas are like 300 people, right? It's fancy, you know, suit, tie, stuff like that. Our gala is 1,500 people. We had it just last February. We had 1,500 people. Tickets sold out in 3.5 minutes.
Wow.
So it's a blessing.
Yeah. That's a lot of awareness.
And we have a lot of celebrities there.
Mm-hmm.
They come and they hang out, and then people get to, you know, it's, if they want to meet so-and-so and get to meet these certain celebrities, it's, yeah, enjoy a drink with them, take a couple pictures with them. And it's a cool thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely helping a lot of kids, but also those municipalities, the firefighters in those municipalities, I'm sure it helps them a lot too.
So that's the thing. Great point. I'm so excited you said that. So when this whole thing started, the mission was to help the kids. And that's always the mission. I shouldn't say was. It is the mission. It was, and it still will always be the mission. But there was a side effect of that mission, which I never saw. There was a guy at the firehouse. He was the crabbiest guy, miserable. Like he's just they call them salty firefighters, you know, just miserable.
Well, it's kind of thankless.
Yeah.
You're forced to kind of go through hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But this guy was like, every day, you couldn't say good morning to him. He's that guy.
Okay.
You know, you got some people are like, don't talk to me till I have my first cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like, all right, calm down. All right. Calm down, beefcake. All right.
Yeah.
You're not that relevant, but whatever.
Yeah.
But this guy, he was just miserable, right? And he's just crabby and cranky. And so then he went on this visit. And after the visit, he comes up to me and he's got tears in his eyes. And I'm like, I didn't know this guy had a soul, you know, let alone tears, you know, not being over animated.
Yeah, no.
But he comes up and he's like, I just want to say I've been turning on those lights and sirens for the last 20 some years of my life. And I'm constantly greeted by screams, anger, tears. This is the first time I ever turned on the lights and sirens and I was greeted with smiles. He's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever been a part of. And I'm like, wow, okay, so there's something else here. So now that we're in all these different communities, I get a lot of feedback from these chapters, you know, because they're the face out there. They're the heart of the mission, is they're delivering those products, right?
Yeah.
We will send them all the gifts. We'll do all the arranging and all that. They just have to go deliver the smiles, right? They have to go out there and hang out and have quality time with these kids. And all of them call me up and they're like, this is the greatest thing. Like, it was so much fun. We went and we purchased like 7 super soakers and they went over there and the kid was feeling okay. And they're having a water gun fight and they were going to be there for 20 minutes. They're there for an hour and a half and they're having more fun than I think the kids are, you know, but it's rewarding, right? Because all of these firefighters and first responders, because like sometimes PD gets involved in the towns, sometimes their public works gets involved, which is a cool thing. So they do that and they all get involved, and all these people got into this because they're helpers. They want to be helpers,
right?
But sometimes there's so much red tape that you can't help, or there's situations that you can't help because they're just terrible situations. They're able to control this narrative now and create what they actually got into the job to do is to help. So I got in this job to help. If there's a bad car wreck and everybody perishes in this car wreck, I can't change it. That sucks. But I came out here to help and I can't help. Well, there's sick kids in your community. These are the most vulnerable in your community. And now you can help them. Like, how awesome is that? You know, and these guys and girls love it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing because they should love it, because these firefighters are honoring the true heroes on the street, which are these kids. And these kids are being honored by the other heroes.
The real heroes, yes.
And it's cool when you see that dynamic. And I love the fact, I love when we post on our social media with the pictures and all the different things. And it's a cool thing.
So how many communities are you in now?
135.
Wow.
Yeah. 11 states. It's growing weekly. Like we have a lot more coming through the mix here.
So you're not in, are you still in the union? Were you ever in the union?
For sprinkler fitters?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still in the union.
I still hold my card. In case I ever want to go back and hang some pipe, you know. So I'll always hold on to that. But it was, you know, working both jobs. I was averaging 96 hours a week. Some weeks I would go from 96 hours to 120 hours a week, and I was just becoming a complete zombie. Right, like I couldn't function. I couldn't remember things, and my wife is like, "Babe, you're going to kill yourself." Like,
it's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
That's only work and sleep.
Yes.
Which is what you were.
That was it, man. That was, you know, that's what it was. And then when I did have time to spend with the family, I had nothing. And I did it wrong for a long time. Right. And I realize that. And it's not because I'm somebody that's superhuman or anything, you know. I was just driven to support my family any way I could. In any way, again, we did everything backwards. We were always in debt because we were kids with kids. We always lived beyond our means, meaning we always did everything we could for our kids. Could we have saved money by not letting our kids get into travel sports and do these club workout activities? Sure. Like I always tell our kids, I'm like, you guys are our oceanfront condo. Like, you know, but that's just my like joking around with them, you know. But they're the true investment, right? And they show it. Like my 26-year-old Curtis, he's just such a great kid. He's the kid could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves, right? He's very salesman, and his career is that, you know. But he was a college wrestler, he had a scholarship and all that stuff, and he did very well, and he's very successful now. Our checking accounts are still linked because of the college, and I look at like mine, and then I look at his, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You know, but I'm happy for him. That's good. You know, my daughter, she was travel volleyball and basketball and did all of that. And unfortunately for her, she got stuck in the COVID times when she graduated, you know, and so she was going to go to a big university, but then the universities were like, you could pay for the universities, but you weren't going to them, you know? So she did like the community college, and now she works in the banking industry. And she's getting married coming up here, you know, and
congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. She found a good guy. He's a good human.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the most important thing is, you know, because everyone's always like, oh, Kurt, you know, that's your daughter, you know, like you're going to let her date, you know, and stuff like that. And yeah, like, of course it's always tough, but at the end of the day, I just want my kids to be happy. Right. I want them to be good humans, and I want them to be happy. You know, it's not this ego thing of, oh, don't touch my daughter. I'm gonna walk out with shotgun shells on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Like, you treat my daughter well, we're good. If you don't, then we'll worry about the shotgun shells, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
You know.
And I feel like too, if you grow up where you're being treated well, you find someone that treats you well.
For sure.
You know.
For sure. And then so she has that. She's doing very well. And then my youngest is a college baseball player. You know, he's a D2 baseball player right now, and Him, like the other two, he's going to change the world. He's got a whole different mindset. Each kid is different. They bring their own thing to the table. And it's weird because it's same parents, same environment, but you see different attributes that they have. And it's so crazy how they turn out different, like, and you see these things, and it's like my oldest can sell. He could have a conversation with anybody. Yeah, but my daughter is very sweet and very more like introverted and quiet. Polar opposites from that one. And then this one is like a balance of that. Like he knows how he can engage, but he thinks things differently than most people, and it's just their talents. It's cool. Sorry, I went on a tangent with my kids.
No, that's okay. No, I mean, you said that they're your beachfront property.
Yeah, that's it.
They're the investment that gives you something worth having.
Yeah.
A relationship with your kids that you're proud of.
Oh,
I mean, that's so important. It's not always an easy thing to have for a lot of people.
No. And I think the biggest thing is if you can have a great relationship with your wife, it will then ooze into the family life. Like my wife's my best friend. She was my best friend when we were young.
Yeah.
We dated other people, and then we finally realized, hey, we're right here, but she's literally my best friend. Like I enjoy hanging out with my wife. Unfortunately, there's some people are like,
unfortunately,
unfortunately
for others, maybe.
Yeah. Unfortunately for others, where they're like, oh, I got to be with the ball and chain. Like, no, I have a good time hanging out with her, like it's a good time.
Yeah. I like spending time with my wife too. We get along.
And that's important.
And being alone is really nice, especially with the young kids.
For sure.
Seeing each other outside the house.
Yes.
It's funny. It's like, who are you?
Yes.
There's no kids. There's not all this pressure in the to-do. And you could kind of like have fun.
Yeah.
It's
nice to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you do have those moments where especially when they're young, where it's just like, I miss you. Like, I don't even know what we're up to these days. We need to catch up, but those are important.
For sure. So your Project Fire Buddies full-time and firefighter full-time.
Yeah.
Same municipality.
Yes.
Do you travel at all to help promote this on your own accord? Do you go out? How do you
good question. So
do you recruit?
So that's the thing, is that all of those communities that we have, we've never reached out to any of them.
They all reach out to you?
It's organic. So I'm confident I can walk into any firehouse and tell them why they should have Project Fire Buddies. I'm biased. I could tell them and I could sell it to them.
Yeah, because it's yours.
But I don't want to sell it to them. I want them to want to do it.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
I can walk in there and tell them why they should do it. And then when they go out there, it's always going to be Kurt DeGroot came and told us.
Yeah.
I'm irrelevant in all of it. What's relevant is them. They need to want it. And when they want it, then they have buyback. And not buyback to the organization, but buyback to these kids that they're helping.
Yeah.
And it was an idea that's the way we should do it. And we've never changed it because it works. It's these firefighters, they're a president, a vice president, and, a secretary of their chapters. The larger departments have larger board members, but we don't try to micromanage them. We're there. We always tell all of them, like, we'll do the unsexy work for you while you guys take care of the sexy work, right? Which is getting out there and making the impact.
Yeah.
When I hear from the families that the gifts are great, whatever they may have experienced is awesome, but what they really appreciate is that impact, the relationships that they have.
Yeah.
We have one this last Christmas where this child coded twice.
What does that mean?
Where their heart stopped.
Oh, okay.
Where they were pounding on this kid's chest. And the child, they didn't think was going to make it, and they were in the ICU. After everything's all said and done, mom reaches out to the chapter, to her contact, and she called him, not because she wanted money, not because she wanted a toy, because she knew she can call somebody that cares and that generally loves her child. and it offered some sort of comfort. And that's a beautiful thing. That's better than any PlayStation or any trip to anywhere. Like we'll still do all that cool stuff too, but I think this is a little bit cooler, you know, like when you get those impacts. And then when I hear different stories, like personally, the one big impact, and it's happened several times, was we had a young man that was diagnosed with this rare brain tumor. Unfortunately, we've had several kids in the program diagnosed with the same thing. And when you're given this diagnosis, you have like a 0% chance to make it past a year.
Wow.
This young man is 7 years old. Just such a beautiful young man, and family is such a great family, but their child was given a death sentence, and that's terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. So we tried to do everything we could to give them all the experiences they could. He got to meet his favorite basketball player, which was Zach LaVine. Got to do a whole bunch of things. But what's even more is that on his last day, the family called for us to be there. And we got the honor of being there with that young man on his last day of his life. And when we were able to experience that and realize that we're not just bringing toys, we're not just giving experiences, we bring some comfort to the table too. And when we look at the nonprofit world, I studied all of these different nonprofits, read about them from the top to the middle to the lower ones. What are their successes? What works for them? Why does it work for them? And you peel it back, and then not because they're doing anything wrong, but I don't want to do this like they do it because I don't like this portion of it, right? Most charities are kind of a one and done, where they just write a check and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not judging them. I'm not knocking them, because their system works and they do great things. I just didn't want us to do that. So we're with them continually through the duration of their treatments. And then the humanity factor is lost on a lot of things. You know, it's like, hey, we send a check, or hey, you come to this once a year event, or you do this. We're there throughout the duration, and that's something that is missed, and something I'm proud of that we were able to bring to the table.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. I mean, you should be proud of it.
Yeah, we made it on the Kelly Clarkson show too.
Did you?
Yeah. I think she just wanted me on the show because of my hairstyle, but whatever.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think for sure. I mean, being able to be there in those situations for the firefighters and for the kids, my heart goes out to both. I mean, firefighters as well, because as you get older, you don't necessarily have empathy, but your mind tends to project into situations that it's been exposed to.
For sure.
And without having something to ground you and to kind of heal you almost.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's good. It's easy to kind of be one of the people that falls off. And I think this probably helps a lot of people from falling off.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it's really important to help people that have the ability to fall off, because, you know, it's not necessarily their fault, right? You know, if they get into drugs or they get into alcohol, you know, a lot of times it's not with malice intentions. I mean, who really goes out of their way to be that way, right?
Right.
So, you know, there's a lot of stigmas around certain people, and we don't know where they end up or how. And I think it's really good to have empathy for those people and find new ways to keep them from falling off as a society. You know, I don't know how. Obviously, you have figured out a great way, which is amazing. And
not me. I just surround myself with good people. So that's it. You know,
well, I thank you for sure for what you've done. You know,
yeah,
it doesn't help me personally. I mean, I give a lot of appreciation for you. And I hope a lot of people can reach out. I hope this reaches more towns that are willing or want to be involved, because it helps a lot in a lot of ways that no matter how much I talk, it's not going to come close.
It's cool impact. I mean, it's cool to see it, you know, and it's, again, Our social media is very active, and because of our followers and who we've reached out to, and that's all been organically. Like, I'm not sure if you've ever looked into like the marketing aspect of what it costs for ads and stuff like that, but to reach the audience that we reach, it would be, in the 5-figure mark every month you'd have to pay to reach those people. And we get that organically. And it goes back to the beginning of our conversation. People want to see positivity. People are always drawn to, otherwise Jerry Springer wouldn't have been on the air for so long. They're drawn to the drama, right?
Yeah.
But what do they really want? They want to see this path of positivity, because even when you're seeing it, you feel good. You everybody likes those positive videos and those positive stories. And here's the thing, and now we also have a whole nother facet of the organization where we've started to incorporate volunteers. So it's not just firefighters, right? We have a whole team of volunteers that have different skills that we can utilize if we need it,
So it's anyone in the community? It's not just firefighters that are participating?
So firefighters are
mainly.
They got to drive the rig, right? So they got to bring the big red truck. They do that. But for other things, whether it's at different events that we have so many events, and it's such a blessing. It's such a beautiful thing. I get so excited when we see the different golf outings that the different departments are having, or the different, there's a dodgeball tournament coming up. There's, all these different cool things that we try to keep things new and different. And then a lot of the fire buddies in those communities come out for that, and then people can volunteer, help out, and
be a part of that. Be a part of it that way.
Yeah. It's kind of a labor of love for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah. I'm glad to know about it.
Yeah. You were there right towards the very beginnings of it. So
you mentioned it to me, early on, although I didn't really understand what it was. And now it's awesome to see what you've done.
So do you remember me with the headsets?
Yeah.
The headset on all the time?
You had the thing around, and the earplugs, right?
Yeah.
On the cords.
So when I was doing that, and I'm putting pipe up and I'm doing it, so there's days I'd listen to music, right? Like I knew that Benny was on me hard that day and I needed to get something done. So I had to throw some music on and just keep running. But the other days, I'm listening to other podcasts or other audiobooks to learn more and to educate myself about this organization, about family life, different things like that. Because I'm not a smart guy, right? Like I always joke around with my wife, I'm like, I'm just a dumb fireman, and she's like, you're more than that. You need to stop, and she's like, and firemen aren't dumb anyways. And I'm like, oh, you don't know us, and we're always joking around. But you have this, like, okay, I have a job to educate myself, right?
Yeah.
I don't need this paper that says I went here,
Yeah.
But I need to educate myself for real life, hands-on work,
right,
whatever that looks like. So I got those in. And then, so I remember at that job, I was actually, so many different phone calls were going on, with just trying to make different, like these once in a lifetime things happen for these kids while I'm on that building working. I remember doing it. I remember talking to the Bulls. I remember like talking to the Bears. Well, I want to say it was on floor 5. And I remember
that's when you were
talking to the Bears about trying to make some kind of wish for a kid while hanging sprinkler pipe, while doing that, and it was like all these things kept happening, and it's like
fall into place.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Feels like a blessing.
Right. Do you remember the Michael Myers in my truck?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's well, in that area you need it. Otherwise people would break into your truck.
Yeah, that's what you guys had a couple instances of some trucks getting hit.
Yeah, people were getting broken into the building next door.
People wouldn't even go near the truck. I used to watch them. They wouldn't even walk on the same side of the street when they saw it.
Yeah, that's good. That was such a good tactic.
Yeah.
You know what? Even though the sprinklers save lives too.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saving lives in a lot of ways. Because there's been a fire there. There was a fire after.
Really?
On the second floor. Yeah. Someone fell asleep.
With food on the stove?
With a cigarette.
Ooh.
On the couch.
Oh.
And on the second floor. and everything popped the way it should.
Oh, good.
He didn't die.
Oh,
You know,
good.
he didn't get hurt. There was no
Made a mess, I'm sure.
waters, and which was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It
a lot of
needed
work.
to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we just finished everything, and then we had to redo a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, there's insurances, and you get paid to do the work. So,
For sure.
and I do work, so I don't mind working.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that system you had there has probably saved at least one person's life.
That's
Since
pretty
you put
cool.
it up. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't really think about it, but
No.
the echoes are
Yeah.
still saving lives, you know.
Yeah. I put in a lot of sprinkler heads in my life, so.
Yeah, they work, you know.
Oh, they do.
They save lives, that's for sure. Because that building, I mean, it's a concrete, you know, that's a solid, that's a brick shit house. But
Yeah.
the building's not coming down, not without a plane going
For
into
sure.
it. But
For sure.
that guy on his couch and the door, all the stuff inside, I mean, and the smoke and people on the floor without that system. So, yeah,
That's pretty cool.
that is cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
we got-
that's good to know that.
Yeah, it happened once, so we cleaned it up.
Good.
But well, Kurt, I think we could wrap it up. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like do you want to talk for a few more hours? Like, no, I can wipe out your whole day.
Maybe before
Sorry,
bed.
I was rambling a lot here. So
No, that's good. I like to talk. I like
Yeah.
hearing. So, yeah, we'll probably have you on again eventually, hopefully.
yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll wrap this up. Good seeing you. Thank you for coming.
This is awesome.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you soon.